Ladies and gentlemen, let me start with something simple, but life-changing. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. Now that might sound a little surprising, because most people spend their lives wanting more money, more success, better relationships, better health. But wanting is not the magnet. Becoming is the magnet. You see, success is not something you chase. Success is something you attract by the person you become. If you want better results, you don't need a new goal. You need a new mindset. If you want to attract winners into your life, you must first become one. The marketplace doesn't pay you for your needs. It pays you for your value. Relationships don't respond to your wishes. They respond to your character. Opportunities don't show up because you hope. They show up because you are prepared. So the real question tonight is not, what do I want? The real question is, who am I becoming? Because the law is simple, like gravity. Whatever you are on the inside will eventually show up on the outside. And if you don't like what you're attracting, don't blame the world. Improve yourself. Work harder on you than you do on your job. Develop your skills, strengthen your discipline, refine your attitude. Because when you change, everything changes. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Personal development determines your attraction. That is not just a motivational phrase, it is a principle. It works whether you believe it or not. Just like the seasons change, and just like gravity pulls, the law of personal growth quietly shapes the direction of your life. Most people focus on what they want to attract. They want better income, better relationships, better opportunities, better recognition, but wanting something does not qualify you to receive it. Desire alone is not powerful enough. Hope is not a strategy. Wishing is not a magnet. What truly determines what comes into your life is who you are becoming. If you become more valuable, you will attract more value. If you become more disciplined, you will attract opportunities that require discipline. If you become wiser, you will begin to see possibilities that were invisible before. The world responds to your level of growth. Think of it this way. The marketplace pays for value, not need. You don't get paid more because you need more. You get paid more because you have developed more skills, more leadership, more reliability. The same is true in every area of life. Relationships respond to emotional maturity. Business responds to competence. Leadership responds to character. Your income rarely exceeds your personal development for long. Your relationships rarely exceed your emotional growth for long. Your influence rarely exceeds your integrity for long. So if you want more, the first place to look is not outward, it is inward. Personal development is the foundation of attraction because growth changes your mindset. And when your mindset changes, your decisions change. When your decisions change, your actions change. And when your actions change, your results inevitably follow. For example, a person who develops confidence carries themselves differently. They speak differently. They make decisions more boldly. That energy attracts different conversations, different partnerships, different chances. Not because the world suddenly became kinder, but because they became stronger. A person who develops discipline earns trust, and trust attracts responsibility. Responsibility attracts reward. Reward attracts influence. It all begins with self-mastery. The powerful truth is this: you cannot consistently attract what you are not prepared to sustain. Even if you somehow receive it, without growth, you will lose it. Wealth without discipline disappears. Opportunity without skill collapses. Relationships without maturity break apart. That is why working on yourself is never a waste of time. Reading, learning, practicing, improving your communication, strengthening your habits, refining your attitude, these are not small acts. They are acts of attraction. They are investments in your future environment. When you improve your thinking, you improve your choices. When you improve your habits, you improve your consistency. When you improve your attitude, you improve your resilience. And resilience attracts success because success demands endurance. Personal development also sharpens awareness. As you grow, you begin to notice doors that were always there. You recognize patterns. You avoid mistakes you once repeated. Growth does not just bring new opportunities, it helps you see and seize them. And here is the most empowering part. Personal development is within your control. You may not control the economy. You may not control other people's opinions. You may not control circumstances, but you can control how much you learn, how disciplined you become, how positive your mindset stays, how strong your character grows. That is powerful. If you are not satisfied with what you are attracting, do not become discouraged. Become better. Raise your standards, strengthen your skills, deepen your self-belief, refine your daily habits. Because the moment you rise in personal development, you raise your level of attraction. Success is not something you pursue endlessly. It is something you draw toward you by becoming the kind of person who deserves it, sustains it, and multiplies it. Personal development determines your attraction. Improve yourself, and you will be amazed at what begins to improve around you. Your character shapes your results, not your wishes, not your excuses. not even your talents alone. In the long run, it is your character, the habits you practice, the standards you live by, the discipline you maintain when no one is watching. That determines the direction of your life. Character is not built in comfort. It is revealed in pressure. Anyone can be positive when things are easy. Anyone can be kind when they are being praised. Anyone can be disciplined when they feel motivated. But true character shows up when it is inconvenient, when you are tired, when you are disappointed, when you are tempted to take shortcuts. And life responds to that. If you are reliable, opportunities will trust you. If you are honest, people will confide in you. If you are disciplined, results will follow you. If you are inconsistent, careless, or negative, your outcomes will eventually mirror those traits. The outside cannot consistently outperform the inside. You see, success is not just about skills. Skills may open a door, but character determines how long you stay in the room. Talent might get you noticed, but integrity keeps you respected. Intelligence might create opportunity, but consistency turns opportunity into achievement. Your results are reflections. They reflect your standards. They reflect your daily habits. They reflect your attitude toward responsibility. For example, if you develop the habit of finishing what you start, your life will begin to fill with completed projects instead of half-done dreams. If you develop punctuality, your life fills with trust. If you develop patience, your life fills with stability. Small internal qualities create large external consequences. Many people want extraordinary results with ordinary character. They want success without discipline, influence without integrity, leadership without accountability. But life does not work that way. The results you desire require a matching level of personal strength. Character also shapes how you respond to failure, and that response determines your future. A weak character blames others, complains about circumstances, and quits when progress slows. A strong character evaluates, learns, adjusts, and tries again. One response creates stagnation, the other creates growth. The powerful thing about character is that it compounds. Just like money invested wisely grows over time, integrity practiced daily builds reputation. Discipline practiced daily builds achievement. Kindness practiced daily builds strong relationships. These are not dramatic overnight changes. They are steady, consistent deposits into the account of your life. And just as positive traits compound, negative ones do too. Procrastination grows into missed opportunities. Dishonesty grows into broken trust. Negativity grows into isolation. That is why guarding your character is guarding your future. Your character determines the kind of people you attract. Responsible people respect responsibility. Driven people connect with discipline. Honest people appreciate integrity. But if you lack these traits, you will struggle to maintain relationships with those who have them. Like attracts like. There is also something else. Character brings peace. When you know you have done your best, kept your word, acted with fairness, and remained consistent with your values, you develop confidence. Not loud confidence, quiet confidence. The kind that does not need validation. And that confidence influences your decisions. It makes you bolder in opportunities. It makes you calmer in challenges. It makes you steadier in uncertainty. That steadiness shapes your results over time. The good news is that character is not fixed. It is formed. Every decision either strengthens it or weakens it. Every day offers a chance to build it. You build character by keeping promises, especially the small ones you make to yourself. You build character by choosing effort over excuses. You build character by acting with integrity, even when no reward is visible. Your life will not rise above your character for long. It may temporarily, but not permanently. Eventually, your habits, your discipline, your honesty, your standards, they all come forward and determine the outcome. So if you want better results, focus on better character. Strengthen your discipline, raise your standards, guard your integrity, because in the end, your character is not just part of your success. It is the foundation of it. Success is drawn to value, not desire. You can want something with all your heart, but wanting alone does not make you worthy of receiving it. Desire is common, value is rare. And life always rewards what is rare. Many people have big dreams. They want financial freedom, meaningful relationships, recognition, influence, and achievement. But wanting is only the beginning. Desire may ignite the fire, but value fuels it. Without value, desire burns out into frustration. The marketplace does not respond to need. It responds to contribution. You don't earn more because you need more money. You earn more because you have developed skills that solve bigger problems. You don't gain influence because you crave attention. You gain influence because you consistently offer insight, reliability, and leadership. Value is created through growth. If you improve your knowledge, you become more useful. If you sharpen your skills, you become more effective. If you strengthen your discipline, you become more dependable. These qualities increase your value, and increased value naturally attracts greater rewards. Think about it in simple terms. If two people apply for the same opportunity, the one who brings more value, more preparation, more competence, more consistency, will almost always rise, not because they wanted it more, but because they were more equipped for it. Desire without development leads to disappointment, but desire combined with growth leads to progress. There is nothing wrong with wanting more. In fact, desire is powerful. It pushes you to imagine a better future. But if all you do is focus on the picture in your mind without upgrading the person in the mirror, you create a gap. And that gap is where frustration lives. Value closes the gap. When you increase your value, doors open, conversations shift, opportunities appear. Not because the world suddenly changed, but because you did. You raised your standard. You refined your abilities. You invested in yourself. Success is attracted to those who prepare for it. Preparation is proof of seriousness. When you study while others scroll, practice while others procrastinate, and improve while others complain, you quietly build value. And that value becomes your magnet. It is also important to understand that value is not just about technical skills. It includes attitude. It includes reliability. It includes emotional intelligence. A person who can remain calm under pressure brings value. A person who can communicate clearly brings value. A person who can work well with others brings value. These traits make you an asset, and assets are rewarded. Sometimes people feel overlooked. They say, "I deserve more." But the real question is not what you deserve. The real question is what you deliver. Because in the long run, your rewards match your contribution. If you want to earn more, become more valuable. If you want better relationships, become a better communicator and listener. If you want leadership, become trustworthy and decisive. Raise your value, and your environment will respond. The good news is that value can always be developed. You are not limited to your current level. You can read, you can learn, you can practice, you can seek mentorship, you can refine your habits. Every improvement adds to your worth. And here is the powerful shift. When you focus on creating value instead of chasing rewards, rewards begin to chase you. When you aim to contribute rather than merely consume, your influence expands. When you solve problems instead of complaining about them, you become indispensable. Desire shouts, "I want." Value quietly says, "I bring." And life responds more powerfully to what you bring. Success is not hiding from you. It is waiting for you to grow into it. The moment your value matches your vision, your results begin to align. That is when opportunities feel natural instead of forced. That is when progress feels earned instead of accidental. So keep your desires strong. Dream big. Aim high. But remember this, success is not drawn to how badly you want it. It is drawn to how valuable you become. Discipline builds the person you become, not motivation, not inspiration, not temporary excitement. Discipline is the bridge between who you are today and who you are capable of becoming tomorrow. Motivation feels good. It gives you a surge of energy. It pushes you to start. But motivation is emotional, and emotions change. Some days you feel powerful. Some days you feel tired. If your progress depends on how you feel, your results will always be unstable. Discipline, on the other hand, does not ask how you feel. It asks what must be done, and what you repeatedly do, you eventually become. Discipline shapes identity. When you wake up early, even when you don't feel like it, you are not just completing a task. You are building reliability. When you keep your word, especially to yourself, you are building integrity. When you finish what you start, you are building consistency. These small acts may seem ordinary, but together they form extraordinary character. The person you become is hidden inside your daily habits. If you practice procrastination, you become someone who delays opportunity. If you practice focus, you become someone who makes progress. If you practice excuses, you become someone who avoids responsibility. If you practice effort, you become someone who earns respect. Discipline is not punishment. It is training. Just like muscles grow through resistance, character grows through commitment. The discomfort you feel when choosing effort over ease is the price of transformation. And that price is always cheaper than regret. Many people want confidence. They want influence. They want success. But confidence is built through preparation. Influence is built through reliability. Success is built through repeated action. Discipline quietly builds all three. It also builds self-respect. There is something powerful about knowing you can trust yourself. When you say you will do something and you follow through, you strengthen your self-image. You begin to see yourself as capable, dependable, and strong. That inner trust changes how you speak, how you act, and how you approach challenges. Without discipline, goals remain wishes. With discipline, goals become plans. And with consistent discipline, plans become results. Discipline also protects you from distractions. In a world full of noise, temptation, and shortcuts, discipline keeps you aligned with your priorities. It helps you say no to what feels good now so you can say yes to what matters later. It teaches you to trade comfort for growth. And growth is never accidental. When you practice discipline daily, you are shaping your future self. You are deciding in advance that you will not be controlled by mood, pressure, or convenience. You are choosing strength over weakness. That decision, repeated again and again, creates momentum. Momentum builds belief. Belief builds courage. Courage builds action, and action builds results. Discipline does not mean perfection, it means persistence. There will be days when you stumble. There will be moments when you fall short. But discipline means you return to the standard. You recommit. You adjust and continue. Over time, that consistency separates average from exceptional. You do not become successful in a single dramatic moment. You become successful in quiet, unseen decisions. The choice to study instead of scroll. The choice to practice instead of postpone. The choice to prepare instead of complain. These decisions seem small, but they stack. And stacked decisions shape destiny. The beautiful thing about discipline is that it is available to everyone. It does not depend on talent. It does not depend on background. It does not depend on luck. It depends on choice. Each day you choose your actions, and your actions shape your character. Eventually, the disciplined person becomes focused, reliable, confident, and resilient. Not because they wished for those traits, but because they practiced them. Discipline builds the person you become, and the person you become determines the life you live. Change yourself and your circumstances will follow. That is one of the most powerful principles you can ever understand. Most people try to change their environment first. They try to change other people. They try to change the economy, their boss, their family, their situation. But real transformation always begins within. You cannot control everything around you, but you can control what is happening inside you. And when the inside shifts, the outside begins to respond. Your thoughts shape your decisions. Your decisions shape your actions. Your actions shape your results. So if you want different results, you must start with different thinking. A new mindset creates new behavior. New behavior creates new outcomes. It is easy to blame circumstances. It feels comfortable to say, if only things were different. But growth begins when you say, I will be different. That statement puts the power back in your hands. When you improve your attitude, your interactions improve. When you strengthen your skills, your opportunities expand. When you increase your discipline, your productivity rises. These internal upgrades quietly influence everything around you. Consider this. Two people can face the same difficulty, yet produce completely different results. One complains, hesitates, and quits. The other adapts, learns, and persists. The difference is not the circumstance. The difference is the individual. When you change your response, you change the direction. Improving yourself also changes how others perceive you. When you become more confident, people treat you differently. When you become more dependable, people trust you more. When you become more positive, people enjoy working with you. Those reactions open doors that were once closed. Often the breakthrough you are waiting for is waiting for you. If you want better relationships, become a better communicator. Listen more. Speak with clarity. Practice patience. As you grow emotionally, the quality of your connections rises. If you want greater income, become more skilled. Study your craft. Deliver more value. As your competence grows, so does your compensation. Change is uncomfortable. It requires honesty. It requires discipline. It requires letting go of habits that feel familiar but no longer serve you. But discomfort is temporary. Growth is lasting. When you raise your standards, your choices improve. When your choices improve, your life improves. There is also something empowering about focusing on self-change. It removes helplessness. Instead of waiting for the world to shift, you begin moving forward immediately. You take responsibility for your progress. Responsibility creates strength. Strength creates momentum. Momentum builds confidence. And confidence changes how you approach every situation. You stop seeing obstacles as permanent barriers and start seeing them as temporary challenges. That mental shift alone can transform outcomes. You may not see instant results when you change yourself. Growth is often quiet at first, but consistency compounds. A better habit practiced daily leads to a better routine. A better routine leads to better performance. Better performance leads to better results. Over time, your environment begins to reflect your effort. If you become more organized, your work improves. If you become more focused, your productivity increases. If you become more resilient, setbacks lose their power over you. Each internal improvement reshapes your external reality. It is not magic, it is alignment. When your character, skills, and mindset rise to a higher level, your circumstances naturally begin to match that level. You begin attracting new conversations, new ideas, new partnerships, and new possibilities. Not because luck found you, but because growth positioned you. The world responds differently to someone who has changed, and that response creates opportunity. So instead of asking, why won't things change? Ask, how can I change? That question unlocks progress. Change yourself first. Strengthen your mindset. Improve your habits. Raise your standards. Expand your skills. As you grow, your life grows with you. Because when you truly change, your circumstances cannot remain the same. Ladies and gentlemen, we began with a simple but life-altering truth. You attract what you are, not what you want. And now you can see why. Personal development determines your attraction. Your character shapes your results. Success is drawn to value, not desire. Discipline builds the person you become, and when you change yourself, your circumstances follow. This is not theory, it is a principle. You don't attract success by chasing it. You attract success by becoming the kind of person who can handle it. You don't attract respect by demanding it. You attract respect by demonstrating integrity. You don't attract opportunity by wishing for it. You attract opportunity by preparing for it. The world responds to who you are. If you are disciplined, you attract responsibility. If you are valuable, you attract reward. If you are positive, you attract possibility. If you are growing, you attract progress. So the real work is not out there. It is in here. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Invest more in your character than in your comfort. Focus more on becoming than on acquiring. Because what you become is far more powerful than what you get. Money can be lost. Positions can change. Circumstances can shift overnight. But who you are, your mindset, your discipline, your integrity, that is your true asset. And when that asset grows, everything connected to it grows. If you look at your life right now and you are not satisfied with what you are attracting, don't be discouraged. Be determined. Raise your standards. Strengthen your habits. Refine your attitude. Improve your skills. Because when you improve, your results improve. The law is simple. Like gravity, it does not argue. It does not negotiate. It simply responds. Become more, and you will receive more.